Hey, folks, you know what time it is. We have been gone for a while and we're a little late today, but we are back. I am the Ruthless Wonder, not a Ruthless Wonder. You are listening to The Wrath of Ruthless. I have two co hosts. That's right, two today. We have, of course, the co host, Brittany Robinson, and alongside her, we got a special guest returning for, I think this is his fourth appearance at this point, but we'll get to him in a second. I want to open up with some things. First up, positive news. You all have remembered, of course, that at the beginning of every show, we talked about the GoFundMe campaign from my brother Chris, which, of course, here in the last couple months has reached its full goal of 10,000. Thank you all who contributed, and, of course, everybody who shared and talked about it on social media. But while he is still waiting for a heart, he is helping everyone kind of understand not only his journey but also how he keeps that superhero form. So check out his YouTube page, and that is able to be found just by typing in Chris Williams, looking for that Heart Warrior band there as his logo picture. You can also get there by going to The Dawn. That's THADON 4242. That's The Dawn 4242. THADON 4242 on YouTube, and you can get there. He's showing his hospital workouts, how he kind of keeps himself in shape while he's having to be primarily in a hospital bed during that time. So check that out, of course, on YouTube. Subscribe. I want to see that subscriber count go up, folks. And check out, like I said, my brother's doing that. So we'll hopefully be able to do like a live remote 1 week here sometime soon, hopefully, with him. So you guys can meet him more properly. Of course, wanted to give a quick shout out to our good buddy Chris Good and Ruby Jeans Juicery. They are expanding. Not only are they a top 100 Yelp location, not only have they begun to start testing out for delivery services of their cold pressed juices, but there will be more locations coming. He's done a lot of those great pop-ups around Kansas City. I believe they actually might be doing one this weekend. But be sure to check out Ruby Jeans Juicery at 40th and Broadway, and coming soon to some new locations in Kansas City and elsewhere over the course of the next few months. So look out for those. Of course, support all the shows. Come by, check us out, tpublic.com/314publishing. You can get 25% off all items for the next 8.5 hours with their web code 25OFF. That includes, of course, all of our logos and all of our items, including, of course, that wonderful travel mug you see there. Remember, it's just tpublic.com/314publishing. Buy something, support the shows. We look forward to you helping us out. And, of course, you can always check out all of our non The Wrath of Ruthless content with everyone over at weekendlife.com. That's WKNDLIFE.com. And just press play, people. Streaming, of course, our recorded content, some show streams. Speaking of show streams, we got Brittany, me and you. We got to talk. There's a lot of good news that we got to get back to doing something. We have apparently been. The people are mad with us for not getting something taken care of. But we will get to that as well. So we're going to go ahead and get into our show for the day. But of course, I want to properly introduce all of the folks coming in today. First up, of course, you know her, you love her, you tell me she's hilarious and awesome. And of course, some of you out there are being weird. You know who you are. That's, of course, my co-host, Brittany.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing? Brittany?
I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm doing.
So, yeah, we got some really good news there. Now, we do have a second person here with us. Third person total. And, of course, that is from weekendlife.com, our major streamer over there. Ben Davis, how you doing, brother?
What is good, yo? Man.
So, I know you are hype off of a brand new trailer release and the promise of more information.
Yes.
Yeah, so we won't cover this here. We'll cover that over on some gaming content later. but I did want to kind of use that as part of the transition. Now, you as a gamer are fairly used to a lot of hype and rumor concerning gaming and whatnot, and fairly often would you say that that's uh, would you say that it's usually like believable, or would you say there's a lot of falsity to that?
Um, there's there's some truth out there. There's some false out there. It just depends on what sources you're getting it from, basically. If it's like a false source, and I wouldn't believe it, I would just throw it away until somebody else or some other um, company or not company, or like a reliable source comes along and tells me that this is happening.
So
Then I generate some hype, probably.
okay, well, and Brittany and I kind of deal with this fairly often, where people post fake news stuff, uh, and you have to deal with the like, dude, that's not real. That didn't happen. But that's what today's
Yeah,
topic is really about. Today is this the 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 proliferation, if you will, of fake news sites. Now I think we all kind of have dealt with, and obviously stop me if you guys haven't. We all kind of dealt with the person that we know that posts like 1,000 stories from fake news sites that you have to be like, dude, that's not real. Like that's a satire site show. Uh, but it's gone from being just a well, our friends are accidentally posting it to a lot of fake news infiltrating social media rather directly. Um, Now let's kind of get into the major into this topic. Uh, Sorry, folks, you're probably mad right now because I'm giving you an ad break. You got to do them. You got to get them in. And we're back. So this first one I want to talk about, of course, is the Facebook cutting off the fake news sites from getting ad money. You guys will note that this article is from earlier in November. It's from the 14th November. Um, Facebook was inundated with a lot of questions from both users as well as from honestly from a lot of outside sources, so actual news sites, other paying customers for the ad services, that they were letting these fake news sites buy ad space and thus pushing out real news. And one of the ways they wanted to combat that, of course, was to just come in with uh, their own ability to eliminate those from their ad revenue portion of the site. Um, I know, Brittany, you and I had talked about this a little bit beforehand, uh, but man, uh, had you noticed that switch? Had you noticed that that you weren't seeing the fake news sites in your ad scrolls on the side of Facebook?
I haven't really noticed it until now, but now that I've seen this, I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes along, because I know there's a lot of clickbait out there on Facebook, a lot of it, and to see this um, getting cut off, it could it could be good. It could be good. I'm hoping for good.
Good, good, yeah. But I think one of the major things about this is that by getting rid of that ad money, that really kind of discourages a lot of them. But Brittany, what do you think about the switch over? Obviously, we've talked about it, but the people probably want to know.
Um, I don't really remember my opinion on this. I don't really think I had much of an opinion besides, oh wow, that's convenient. Because a lot of people can't tell the difference between real news and fake news anyway. Like there have been a lot of people talking about that lately in the news about how, if you show someone a news headline, they don't know if it's fake or they don't know if it's real. And also there are some things that, I've noticed that a little bit because I shared an article from the New Yorker, and it's written by, I think his first name is Andy, but his last name is Borowitz. Okay, so it's the Borowitz report. And he just writes a lot of like satire / fake news stories that are obviously meant to be funny, and people will think that it's real. Like it was one that I shared that was Ben Carson doesn't remember running for president. And so I was laughing because I was in on the joke. Like I know Ben Carson's not a complete sociopath to where, he wouldn't remember running for president. So
Yeah.
everybody was like, wow, this is so sad. And I'm just like, what? Are you serious? It's a joke. Like just click the article. It's just one click. Like it's just one click. So, I mean, like, I was just kind of like, wow. So I really believe that people don't know the difference between fake news and whatnot. So I guess Facebook is doing this kind of to protect themselves because, I would assume somebody in the legal department might be telling them it's a smart move. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I can remember that. I can remember that particular article and laughing when I saw it. Um, the question I have though with stuff like that is like, I always wonder like how much money are you really getting to the money that you spend to put ads out if you're one of these fake news sites? I mean, it's Borowitz is different because that's actually at the New Yorker, right? Like he's not just online. Like they sometimes print those in the New Yorker itself, don't they?
I haven't had a New Yorker subscription in a minute, but I mean, it's been about 2 years since I actually had an actual New Yorker subscription, but they're printed regularly on the site. Yeah. So I would imagine they put them in the actual physical magazine that you're mailed.
Yeah. It's like, I can at least partially understand if somebody thought that was real, but the rest of these, like, we all know the fake sites. It's the ones that have suspicious names. Obviously, one of the big ones used to be Hustlers. I don't actually see them as much anymore. When everybody finally figured out that they were fake news. But I wanted to get to like a slightly deeper issue with that, kind of within the same sphere. Um, this notion of, and I know we talked about this one the other night. Facebook going in and straight up curating the articles that they let come onto the Facebook site. Now, this is also from Engadget. I wanted to get the Engadget copy just because it's a tech site and we have a lot less fluff in this piece than we do in the other ones. But obviously I want to go to Brittany first on this. This notion of hand-picking what articles can appear, not just ads, but the actual stuff that could appear on your Facebook wall. And really kind of what you thought about that notion of, is that really the only way to combat these issues?
Don't ask me stuff like that. I don't know enough about this tech stuff. Like, I don't know how to think stuff out like this. The only thing I can say is, yeah, I would plaster a good 5 articles on a site if I felt like it was what I needed to do to protect people from themselves. So I guess that's a smart thing to do. I do not know. Like, I don't know enough about tech stuff to actually sit here and be like, yeah, this is a good move, Facebook. Nice. You go, Facebook. I don't know.
I didn't mean from a tech standpoint.
No clue. That's like what it's like. I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, do what you do, Facebook. I don't even click half of the stuff people post anyway. A lot of stuff people post is just annoying. Sometimes I don't even know why I'm on Facebook. I'm so annoyed by everybody. It's like going to a party and standing in a corner with a beer and not talking to anybody. That's the kind of like Facebooker that I am. Because I don't even know I'm just like, I'm not going to click that. This looks ridiculous.
Well,
this sounds stupid.
What beer in that case? Like, what beer do you go with?
I don't know.
I want to know this too.
Van, while she thinks of what beer do you go with, Van?
I really don't drink any alcohol though, but if I was to drink beer, I would probably drink Corona.
You need to start drinking alcohol. Some adults really do not trust adults who don't drink. You know, if you've got
what, you don't trust me? What you? I'm innocent.
No,
what are you talking about?
There is nothing I hate more than an apple juice at a party adult. There is no. I'm like, if you are having a juice or a soda or something like that, like I think you should be in AA. Because, I mean, for me to be like, oh, okay, that's cool. You go, good move. If you are just a sober person, no history of like, substance abuse or anything like that in your past, I really do not like. I think Chelsea Handler said something like this to Bill Maher, and I was like, but I've always said that about apple juice adults. I do not trust apple juice adults. Like, I just
don't trust
because,
apple juice at all.
Like, you're the kind of person, if we go out and we have like a glass of wine, I've got to explain wine to you. And at 29 years old, I don't want to be explaining wine or beer to anybody. Like, you're a liability, Van.
I'm aware of the wine. I just don't know the wine, like some of the what is it? The different types of wine.
Van, just go with it. It's a joke, Van. Van, just go with it. It's a joke. Like, I didn't want to embarrass you like that, but Van, like you're actually thinking out a joke.
Oh.
And if my nipples reacted to jokes, if my nipples reacted to jokes, they would have inverted at the way you just tried to explain a joke. Like, I mean, don't do that, Van. Don't do that. I mean, the safest bet is just to laugh and not know what I'm talking about.
Send your fan mail.
Don't explain the joke.
Words don't
don't explain the joke.
Care of Brittany.
Don't. I just hate that. Like, I mean, not the joke things. I just don't trust apple juice adults. Like, why don't you drink?
I just wait. Before
is there a reason? Is it?
Can I just say I love the genius of the apple juice adults bit? Because I imagine them with a juice box.
That's how I imagine them too. Usually, I mean, I'm just like, so you're telling me you're gonna ask? I mean, because I always picture that as being like, so if I order a drink right now and I put vodka in it with a mixer, so like pineapple juice, cranberry juice, you're just gonna ask for actual pineapple juice and sit here next to me, and I'm like, you might as well be 6.
Now, here's the thing: I do drink casually, but I'm not a serious drinker. I drunk with Matt when we was in Orlando, so
that's true.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, well, if you drink, then I'll get off it. If you drink, I just don't understand like adults that drink. I had this one friend who like he was talking about he goes out to bars and stuff, and he's like, yeah, but I don't drink, so it's kind of awkward. And I'm like, what kind of person thinks to go to a bar and they don't drink? Like, what is there for you? Like, I don't get it. I just don't understand it. So I'm just kind of like, oh, he's an apple juice adult. Got it.
I gotta keep that one. That was
yeah.
We're putting that in the book in the future. Like one day on the podcast, Brittany said, "Yeah, these apple juice adults out here, I don't trust them." Like, I got a lot of that.
They are.
And of course, folks, we're not talking about
I don't.
You good people who are DDs. I like to thank you all for getting me home from time to time.
Yeah, and if you're sober because you've had a history of like, substance abuse or something like that. I mean, obviously I'm not talking about you, but I've always said that. So I laughed like when I saw like an old episode of Real Time with Bill Maher, and Chelsea Handler was kind of saying the same thing. And I was like, dang, she has that same opinion. She didn't call them apple juice adults though, like I've been doing, but like she has that same opinion about like why you shouldn't trust Donald Trump. But no, that's not my opinion, but she was bringing up the drinking thing and applying it to Donald Trump. She's like, I don't trust him because he doesn't drink. And I was like, I don't trust him for a lot of other reasons. But now that I know he doesn't drink, because I didn't know that he didn't drink, but now that I know he doesn't drink, I mean, I would have cried foul when he was running last year. Immediately when I found out he didn't drink.
Now,
there is not a president we've had, especially one that's gone to law school, that is going to tell you he doesn't drink.
Well, now at least. Modern wise, at least, yeah. Because we've had some teetotalers, I believe. But we got to get back to the question. What's the beer you drink if you're sitting in the corner?
I really don't know. It depends on what people have. Like, I don't like Bud Light. It's okay. I mean, it's not my first beer to go to. That's like, here's the thing with Bud Light. Like, I think I got burned out from it because it was always the beer that was cheap enough to have at parties, like when you were in college. So I think like when you're going to college and everybody's broke, that's the beer that people buy.
Went to Sierra Lawrence and you had the money to do that kind of shit. We couldn't afford getting Bud Light in college. It was Keystone.
Sometimes you what?
We couldn't afford Bud Light in college. It was Keystone and Pabst Blue Ribbon and God forbid, Natty Light in this bad boy.
I mean, I don't know why, but when I was at UA, which is what I'm talking about. When I was at UA, it was fairly affordable. Unless I'm misremembering something, which is a good possibility. I mean, college for me was about, it was a few years ago. I'm not going to tell anybody my age, but I'm still in my 20s. I just don't want to
You told me your age earlier. Like you told me your age like 20 minutes ago.
Did I tell you my age?
Yes.
You did that.
Well,
you did that.
See, these freaking apple juice adults are the ones who remember everything. These apple juice adults remember every freaking thing. If you had a drink in your hand, you wouldn't be pulling receipts. You would not be pulling receipts. You'd be rocking with it and letting it go. And I find it funny how Van can remember me telling my age, but he didn't know how to decipher that joke. Like, Van, you chime in when you want to chime in. I'm on to you. I am on to you. I am not fooled.
I remember everything, even if I do drink.
Now that's just scary. I'm now
That
I'm
is
afraid.
scary.
Like, yo, you can't be out here remembering the stuff we do when we're drunk now. That's not okay.
Exactly.
That's not okay,
exactly.
Bro.
Like,
I'm not gonna tell it, but I just remember. But I'm not gonna tell it.
But I don't know. I don't know if it was just me misremembering something, but I definitely think I remember Bud Light being a little bit more reasonably priced, and maybe it's one of those things that, it varies if you're in a college town, like I was in a college town, like, I don't know. I have no idea, but it's like, I remember that. I remember Bud Light being reasonably priced, and there was some other beer that people used to drink that I didn't really drink. But I can't remember, but I just remember it was at parties. Like, and yeah, probably that sounds about right. I mean, I know that one, but that probably was there. But I usually would go with Heineken.
All right.
Or
yeah.
Or I like Blue Moon sometimes.
I love that. Blue Moon's pretty flavorful. I like that. But
the one thing I've noticed about Blue Moon is that it tastes better to me in the summer. I don't know why. I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason for that. But like, if we were at a barbecue and somebody had Blue Moon, I'd be like, oh, this is perfect.
I think
I don't know why.
I think it's that you kind of have a different vibe when you're drinking Blue Moon in the summer. Like, you're more likely to put the orange slice in, and there's all that production of Blue Moon. I like that. I like Blue Moon though. I have nothing against Blue Moon. It's funny that Bud Light was cheaper for you than it was for me. It's like, yeah, that's a time frame thing. When I was an undergrad, you were undergrad.
Like,
I think it was cheaper in college towns too, because when I went to Troy, but everybody went for the party.
See, okay, so I'm not crazy, because I was like, I remember Bud Light being fairly reasonably priced. And I even remember, like, I went to a football school. So I even remember during like football games and stuff, that's all you saw a lot. Like, if you went to the quad and walked around and if people were tailgating, there was a lot of Bud Light. And I can't, if it were so expensive, I don't think it would have been that, prominent. And, so I'm just like, okay, I remember a lot of that, but live in a college town usually anyway, especially if you go to a college town that's like just revolves around the college. Things are fairly cheaper, so maybe that played a part in it. I don't know.
Well, I have enjoyed our beer digression, and it gets us to, oddly enough, to the next piece of the topic, and we'll click out of that screen cap there for a second. It was that. Okay. We've talked about, sort of fake news. We've talked about people remembering when they're drunk, and now Van has to now prove himself next time we go drinking. I wanted to talk about this idea of when you're in on the joke versus when you're not, that you had brought up just a bit ago. You had talked about that article from the New Yorker and Borowitz. I was actually thinking about, those times where I have posted something from a satire site as well, and knowing that it was a satire site. Like, I know this is not real news. But here recently, we've dealt with a lot of, how to put it, a lot of fake news that is, like, being spread as real news by legitimate news sites. And I wanted to kind of talk about how, not in depth about how the stuff is made, but all right, let me pull this thing up so you guys can see it. This hub in Macedonia makes fake news. They literally make fake
Mhm.
news. Like that turns out to later be a hoax. All that stuff. They come in. They make like it's a town of 50,000 people. They have like tons of unemployment, like factories closed, all that stuff, and they make money by making fake news articles.
Mhm.
And I, okay, here's the thing. I feel bad for the economic situation for that town, but I also feel like it's the same way for Nigerian-based scammers, for Chinese and Southeast Asian-based scammers, for here in the U.S. for the same kind of con artists. Like, there's got to be another way. And it's this notion of it's one thing to make a satire site, say you're a satire site, and put up fake news that people can laugh about. I think we've all kind of seen well, Orlando Brown's a real joke at this point, but people have always seen the like strange, titles about some, celebrity, and it's a fake site, but you want to laugh at whatever the article says, or even the people who do like clickbaity. Uh, Norman Reedus has been fired from The Walking Dead. Click here to find out more, and you go click, and it's like the haha you've been had sites. I think we've all kind of done those, but we're all kind of in on the joke with those. Do you guys kind of feel the same way about that? Let's start with Brittany here.
Yes, I've clicked several things.
But do you feel like there's a difference
No, I
between?
mean, I'm just saying, like,
What's
I'm
up?
just, I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to say, like, yeah, I've clicked several things like that. I mean, I don't really. Okay, I think sometimes people are. It's easy. I can see why people would be misled. I just say like this because there's a lot of foolery that's going on in the world to where you can't decipher. Not. Like there's just a lot of stuff like that, stuff that turns out to be real. And you're like, is this real? And it is real. And you're like, oh my God. So maybe that factors into it. But I have definitely clicked some things before. And I was like, oh yeah, I know that this is fake. Like, okay, haha, I've fallen for it. The clickbaity kind of stuff. But some of the sites, I guess, just aren't like that. I haven't personally seen many sites that I just couldn't decipher whether they were fake or real. Like I just couldn't, like I haven't seen many sites like that.
But when you click on those, do you generally feel like you're in on the joke when it's a clickbaity one? Like, is that
I mean,
are you clicking it to see like how crazy this thing is going to be, or are you clicking thinking, oh
yeah,
God, I hope this isn't real?
yeah, that's the general idea is I'm clicking on it thinking like, this can't be real, and so I read it and I see a satire and I'm just like, oh, okay, like whatever, that's funny, but sometimes I guess where people just don't know. And so they click these things and they just haven't done it. So I don't want to make fun of them. But yeah, I've definitely had that. I've been like, this can't be real. Like, I know this is a joke. I'm in on it. Let me click in and check this article out.
Okay. And Van, what about you, man?
With these sites, I'll sometimes be in on it sometimes because I actually do post a few satire stuff on there.
Uh-huh.
But I've had one person, like while I was at work, that actually believed that actually one person actually died, and I had to prove to her that like yeah, this was fake and whatnot and stuff like that. So some people, including myself, like to be in on the joke. Some people just have to prove. Some people has to take other people to prove that it's a fake website or whatnot. But I'm like, what can you do? You just have to decipher which ones is real and which ones is fake.
And that's really where we get a lot of these. Like it used to be, it was all these fake sites were like, Jeff Goldblum is dead today at 61 and blah blah blah, and you were like, all right, that's fake. But it seems like we're getting more to just regular articles about this stuff. And maybe I'm wrong. I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. But I felt like before it was like we were kind of all used to the celebrity death hoaxes, and that made you like really double check whenever you saw that. Because I can remember when Paul Walker died. Like even myself, I was not ready to accept that was truly the news until I saw it at more than just TMZ. And then because we've had so many celebrity deaths that TMZ reports on, and then they find out it's a hoax, and they hadn't really gotten their stuff together yet. Um, but I've always kind of felt like it kind of stayed in that realm of like outlandish stuff or deaths, and now it seems to just be regular articles. I won't give out who this was, but somebody who's connected to Words Unto Justice. When I posted about the death of the Brazilian soccer team that died in a plane crash here this past week, she didn't realize that it was she initially thought it was a fake article. And I was like, this isn't a joke. Like, this is seriously what happened. And I feel like that's kind of become part of the culture now. Like, we question anything about a death because we're not certain whether or not somebody's doing another hoax. And I feel like that's kind of on us for constantly clicking on these things. But have we gotten to this point where we really can't trust anyone's news source because of things like that? Have we really gotten to that point where like these sites have gotten so prolific that we can't trust just a general piece of news on someone's social media feed or a link? Lord knows if they send a link in an email, I double check it. But have we gotten to that point where we just can't trust legitimate news unless we know the brand? Like, we know it's NBC, ABC, Fox, MSNBC, CNN kind of thing. Have we really reached that point? Do you guys feel like that?
Yeah.
I honestly think we have at some point. Some point along a couple years back, we probably reached that point because, like I said before, I had to prove to somebody that a celebrity hasn't died yet, and this was while I was at work, and she was very serious about it too. So, we've reached that point. Beyond that point now. My personal opinion about that. So, yeah.
Brittany?
Yes, we've reached that point. No, I'm just saying, like, we have reached that point. Like, I don't want to go back and rehash what I said before, because that's what I was speaking to when I was talking before, like in my last response. Like, yes, I don't want to blame people for that though. Like, I mean, I get that there are a lot of news sites that are doing this, that are putting out like a lot of fake news, but I don't want to, kind of shun people or shame them for being fooled by some of this stuff, because it's like the world to me, it would have been a joke 5 years ago for Donald Trump to be running for president. That would have been a fake news story to me. And now Donald Trump is the president-elect. That's crazy. What? Are you serious? Like, this is just something a lot of us never saw coming. Like, many of us did not see it coming. And 5 years ago, we would have definitely been like, that's not possible. That's not, no. This man's not going to be president. That's how we would have been, okay? No, like, it's completely different. So the things that go on a lot today in the world, I feel like become accustomed to seeing so many outlandish things and things they thought they would never see. So when they see some articles, they naturally have to, default to the possibility that it might be real. And I'll admit to you, if I saw an article that was saying that the Brazilian soccer team had died, I would probably, in a plane crash, I would probably say, I'm not believing it until a major news outlet said it. So I don't really know how much of what we interpret as real news is because we're accustomed to seeing it on major outlets and we haven't expanded our expectations and our sources that we gather our news from. I don't know if that has a lot to do with it, or if it has a lot to do with the fact that we're just like saturated with these articles that are satire articles. I don't know. I kind of think it has something to do with both. Because there is a huge media, the media, like the huge media, big media is basically, there's a hierarchy. People get their news. Like, people are more likely to believe something they read on CNN than they are with something they see on just an individual blog. And the media is basically like, a lot of media sites and outlets are run like corporations. So there's a lot of money going into them to put them out there as like the sources we should trust.
No, I feel you. I, I do. I do want people to kind of feel like, for our two international viewers, love y'all. Um, I did want to kind of bring up this piece here. It's not just a well. It's apparently an even bigger problem in certain other countries. Italy, in particular, has had to deal with this like massive inundation of fake news to the point where the government is now responding to the fake news. And it's because there is some state-controlled media in Italy, so they have a much bigger issue with it. But apparently, it's gotten huge. Now, I want to get off of the fake news and into and so we're going to do an ad insertion here in a second. But I want to get off the fake news and into what I can only call how to put it. I can only call this like brazen to the point of impressive. Okay. All right, we're back. So, I said that we were going to talk about something that is brazen to the point of being impressive. There was, a fake U.S. embassy in Ghana for a decade.
Oh, this is just ridiculous. No, no.
Yes,
What?
yes, there was for a full decade. They had a fake U.S. embassy, and I want to say that's Accra is the way you pronounce that. But they would work in this fake embassy. They tried to operate it like a normal one. They would sell passports and visas to multiple countries, including the U.S. and most of the EU, India, and South Africa. Three guys were there when they finally shut it down, but it was doing travel document fraud. And if you folks are watching the live stream and not watching this on SoundCloud, you'll see like the photos and the responses. Like they had legitimate looking documentation. They had legitimate looking passports for multiple countries. They were straight up operating an up and down fake U.S. embassy.
What?
Like this is absolute insanity. Now, now this. I know what you're thinking. Like, how does this deal with fake news? I literally found out about this because I was looking at like articles. I was like, "There's no way that really happened." I'm like, "That has to be a fake site." No, this is a real thing that happened for a decade.
Mhm.
Now I know you love Joanne the scammer, Brittany,
Mhm.
but
Mhm. Yes.
could you imagine her doing like if we said
No, because Joanne does not leave her Caucasian home.
no, I mean, could you imagine like could you imagine this is
That's
like
why
a
Joanne does
Joanne
not
the
do this.
scammer story in the U.S. Like she has like a fake Caucasian home only passport location. Like
No, I'm saying Joanne does not leave her Caucasian home. Joanne is not trying to get Joanne's like this is not Joanne does not involve other people in her scam. She's a one woman scam operation. She's a classy broad, okay? Watch your mouth.
oh, I saw this and it tripped me out entirely. I couldn't like. Can you guys wrap your brains around this? Like
I can't and I will not.
they hung an
I don't
American
know how this
flag. They had a picture of Obama. They
no,
had
there's more to this story. There's got to be more to this story. This is not possible in my mind. There's got to be more. Like this. I really just do not buy that this happened with just some guys got together and they did this not in a country like not in a country where they already regulate so many things. Like Ghana is a heavily regulated country, things like travel documents and whatnot, just like the U.S. is.
yeah.
Well, from what I know, I mean, yeah, they regulate these things. I don't think that Ghana would let this operate. They had to have been operating as something else. Like this had to have been like a store that people were going into. They knew what they were doing. I don't believe that everybody was like, "Oh yeah, that's the embassy. Go there. That's the embassy." I just do not believe it. I think that there was an explanation they were given, like that they were giving like everybody. I don't think that this is an actual, they were operating as an actual embassy. This was a front, and then you go in the back and you knew what you were doing. So I think this is a little bit salacious, a little bit. Like I'm not, I'm not buying that everything happened.
Well, and I'm trying to
Titling the
find where
story.
the U.S. embassy in Ghana actually is, because it may be a
Like,
situation
see,
where
This picture
on
doesn't look
Monday,
like
no,
Tuesdays,
it's in the
it
same
says on
town.
Mondays, it says,
Oh my god!
wait, it says on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays from morning until half noon,
Yeah,
an American flag will fly outside of a faded pink building. Okay, if this was a true embassy, every day.
yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
a select days. I think this is some kind of signal that people were using, like on these days, come get your hookup. That's what I think was going. I think the flag was some kind of symbol. They're like, when you see that flag fly out front, you know, like, come in here, we got you. That's what I think was going on. Like, I do not believe.
Well,
Title is a little bit misleading.
they're even bolder than you think. The real U.S. embassy is in the same town.
That's that they're
See?
really no, they're
Oh.
bold and they're stupid. But I know for that reason, if the embassy was in the same town, they were not operating as a true embassy. That flag was up to let people know that whoever you were supposed to see was there to give you the stuff that you needed. That's
And
what
it
was
gets
going
even
on.
deeper. They were running a Dutch embassy as well in the city. They had a
It's not. These are not
This is
embassies.
crazy.
Like, I want people to stop using that language. Talking about these. These are hookup shacks.
That's what I'm saying.
These are not
That's what I'm
embassies.
saying.
You see what I
That's
mean?
what I'm
Like,
saying.
don't use this kind of language. These are hookup shacks, because an embassy is an embassy. Like, I think if you use words like embassies for these, you're kind of participating in, you know, perpetuating fake news. Like, don't say embassies. We know what this is. If you're a person of sound mind, you know this is a hookup shack. This is a shady hookup shack where, you know, because I mean, on certain days they fly this stuff, they fly these flags. Like, I mean, come on, that's a signal. Because I think the country's not going to be like, oh, okay, well, why are they flying a different flag? The country's probably going to be like, well, maybe they have some kind of like connection to this other country. So whatever. You know, we'll let it rock. That's what I think, you know, Ghana's going to be like. Like, we'll let it rock. You know, they've got an American flag. They've got a Dutch flag. No skin off our back, whatever.
And apparently
They put those flags
Turkish
up and
organized
they
crime
go.
ring that was doing this as well.
That's a hookup.
That's so
That-
crazy.
Like, this is
when
a
I see
hookup. This is
embassy-
like,
What's up?
I said when I see when I see embassy. Oh,
Brittany was
go
saying
ahead.
something I couldn't hear. What'd you say?
Yeah, go ahead. Let her finish.
I just said this is a hookup. I was like, this is if the Turkish organized crime group is doing this. These were, you know, at their locations, like where they would probably have like illegal card games and stuff. You know, I watch so much Goodfellas going on with the organized crime ring anywhere. Like, you know, I just want to say this is where they had their gambling nights and where they had their card games, you know, and they were, you know, throwing, well, actually that's another mob movie, but I was about to say like throwing dice in the basement. You know, I don't know, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, this is what I would imagine would be going on there when they weren't giving out applications on those certain days. I don't think we should be using words embassies, like embassies, to describe what they're doing. That's not the case here. This is just a shack, people.
Yeah.
I want to know who broke the story and was like, I went to the embassy and I got this. Like, what idiot thought he actually was in an embassy in the back of a store? Like, that's the person I want to hear from, because you clearly need adult supervision at all times. You know, because at an actual embassy, if I'm not mistaken, at an actual embassy, it's a guarded building. And then on top of that, you pass by army officials or guards that are wearing some type of garb to let you know they're associated with the state.
Yeah, I was going to say that same thing.
Yeah, I don't understand this, because I always thought there were a couple American soldiers in the embassy. I don't know why I thought that. I mean, even if they were just there, even if they were dressed in suits, you know, there was security there.
That is what the actual U.S. embassy looks like from the outside.
See, that's
Exactly.
where I imagine the embassy being.
Yeah. Well, every U.S. embassy is usually guarded. I don't know why anyone would approach one that isn't guarded. Like, I'd be a little like, why is this place not guarded?
Like, what?
So
if you took me to this Ghana, this embassy that's claiming to be the U.S. in Ghana, if you took me to that pink building and told me that was the embassy, I would be like, I'm not about to get kidnapped.
Like, nope. Nope.
Like,
nope.
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that since I'm from America, I have money. I am broke.
Yeah, that's the
Ask my bank.
again, folks.
I
This is
have
a
nothing.
faded peak building. You can see no security whatsoever. This dude's just walking by. There's a motorcycle just parked there. Like,
In a yellow truck.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, no, this is very, yeah, these are very, like, people were there just doing whatever they were doing, trying to, like, make somebody fall for the okie doke and pay them like $300, I would imagine, for like a passport.
so it is
It's whack, man.
Yeah.
ridiculous. What can I say? But I saw that and I was just like, that's nuts, man. I could, like, the idea that you could even get that to work, anywhere. And I think, well,
It's not nuts. This happens everywhere.
I was saying, like,
Yep.
I feel
Stupid.
like
It's nuts and it's stupid, but this happens everywhere. I guarantee you, this is just like this is the equivalent of running like a shady storefront.
Or a chop shop.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff that's like, this isn't an actual embassy. Like, I mean, no, that's like the faux embassy. Stop using that word, news site, if that's really your real name. Don't call this an embassy. Call this what it is. It is really just a front, like the passport trap house. That's what it is. This is not. That's what it is. It's not a real place.
Passport trap house.
It's not a real place. Like, I mean, just like they keep calling it an embassy. Like, no, I guarantee you.
Trapping out the fucking passports. That's what's up.
I guarantee you, there are some places in every major city that operate like this, especially if there are people who are cruel enough to take advantage.
Like, fly the flag and have Obama's picture and all that shit. Like, apparently this place was trying to look entirely legitimate inside, and that's ridiculous.
Well, what do you? I think legitimate is
look at this
relative.
photo. That looks like real travel documents.
Yeah, because they're scamming, Matt. Like, this is a trap. This is a passport trap house. They're scamming. Like, I would walk in there and I would be like, this is a scam. Nothing in here says embassy. Like, whatever legitimate is relative, I promise you. Because look at all this shit. None of those looks like, they don't look like passports.
Yeah,
not to me.
Look like actual forms to fill out.
Yeah.
But the idea that you would fill out like a fake form for a fake passport, like, because I can imagine most people responding like you respond, like, yo, this is not a real, like, embassy. No, see, they have Obama and they have the flag and look, see, you got to fill out the forms to get the passport.
No.
Like,
No.
And I'd be like, no, they probably have PDFs and scanners and really like high advanced technology. Okay. And then they probably were able to just go get a picture of Obama, because you can go get pictures of a president. And then the flags, like, that's another thing you can just easily get. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if in major cities in this country, this kind of thing was going on. If people were just being so cruel to take advantage of, undocumented immigrants, I wouldn't be shocked. Like, I would not be shocked, because I feel like this is the kind of thing that could work. I mean, you think about if you live in a big major city like New York or Chicago, think about how many different flags you see daily on the street. You see, when I lived in New York, I saw a lot of different flags every single day. All right. A lot of different flags. I like, oh, they're representing their heritage. If you're in the community, though, and that means something different, you could easily go in there and get taken advantage of, and nobody like myself would know. So that's the thing. Like, this is a very, like, this is a scam, but it's something that's easy for people that are just passing on to, because they're just flying a flag outside of a pink house.
A pink trap house.
A flag to me, exactly. A flag to me doesn't mean anything.
Passports and scammers.
No,
hitting the
flag.
Oh my goodness.
Are we done with designer?
You're done with designer. What? Whoa, hold on, folks. We just dropped the bomb.
I was was about to make a point and you started singing, designer. So I'm like, are we done so I can make my point?
Okay.
Like, my point was, a flag doesn't mean anything to me unless it's near a building, a nice building, to where I think that signifies something that's going on inside the building. Like, for a flag to be telling of what might be going on in a place, it would have to be in front of like a building that I consider would be there for conducting business. Like, this looks just like a house. So I'm going to be like, well, that doesn't mean anything. But if it's a tall building and a flag is there, I'm going to think there's some official business related to that country going on in that building. So that would catch my eye. But otherwise, I would just keep walking like this guy walking by this pink house if there were an American flag flying. I would never think it was an embassy.
Or so-called embassy, as I like to call it.
Embassy. But yeah.
The passport trap. So,
The album.
Brittany called it a passport trap house. I like it.
That's gonna be one for tracks on our new album.
Yeah. That I care about making an album so much.
You already got 3 already. You already got 3 songs already. Passport Trap House. Apple juice drinkers.
Yep. Apple juice.
No, you got that wrong because you got that wrong precisely because you are an apple juice adult. Okay, like, it's an apple juice adult. You said apple juice drinker. You would prefer to like down to you and your kind.
You and your kind.
That's what you would prefer to do, Vandavius. You would prefer to do that. Apple juice adult.
Apple juice adults. So I did want to, that's really all we wanted to talk about today. Like I said, we're reformatting shows because we've got other shows launching. But I did want to, like I said, I wanted to get into that as the last story because I just thought that was absolutely absurd, and clearly you all agree with me on this.
Yes.
I did want to ask you guys on a slightly more serious, but not by a whole lot. What's one story, if you can remember? If you can't, I understand. I got one that definitely caught me. What's one story that came from a fake site that you like absolutely remember getting like caught in, like you're like, oh shit, this is real. Like, what's one, if you can remember, what's one that you remember that really got you?
Snap. I forgot. I think it was a sports one that got me, and then at the end it actually said that it was totally satire. I was like, God. I forgot what was the sports thing about, but it was sports related that I looked up, but I can't remember what the title was of it, what as well. So,
Brittany, you got one?
I don't really remember. Not the one that I was like, oh, I'm tricked by this. I don't really remember. Let me think. Yeah, nothing is really ringing a bell right now. I'm sure there has to be one though that I was like, oh, is this serious? And then I clicked it and it was an article that was just like satire article. I don't know. But yeah, I can't remember. I'm sure there has to be one though.
Yeah, there was one that got me, and I guess it's been a few years now. Yeah, God, it's been quite a long time. So, it must have been around the time Left 4 Dead 2 came out. Somebody posted that there was an Easter egg in the game that had the trailer for Half-Life 3.
oh,
This is back when I really cared about like Half-Life games. So we're talking about a whole different Matt Williams at that point.
Oh boy!
But and since then, Half-Life 3 has become like a running joke amongst gamers. Brittany, basically, this game has been like said to be launched for well over a decade now. So we're like, oh, well, this is clearly gonna, like, this is gonna happen. It's gonna be real. And of course, I fell for it. I posted about it. Um, at the time, back on my old account on Facebook, folks might remember that really old version of the account. And they were like, "Dude, that's fake." I'm like, no, it's real. It's an Easter egg in the game. Like, no, dude, there's no Easter egg. It's not real at all. And I had to take that one on the chin. But it's cool. I know a lot of folks have dealt with the proliferation of these of fake news for just about everything, fake movies. I do love those are probably my favorites. And if you've got a favorite, let me know what your favorite kind of fake news is. I particularly love the fake movie news stuff because I'm usually in on those jokes. Um, there was a what the hell was the name of the movie? I think it was like The Fourth Kind. It was something like that. But there was all right. Okay, it's a how to put this. Universal Pictures had to pay this like Alaska Press Club people, and this is like 2009. This has been a long time, so I can't remember everything. But it was a bunch of fake. It was all right. It was a bunch of fake news articles, right, to publicize the movie about a plague of alien abductions in Nome, Alaska, a decade ago. It was a decade ago, from 2009. And they all appear to be from real Alaska publications. So you would have like the Fairbanks like daily news kind of thing, and it would have like an obituary and a story about the death of somebody who was actually in the movie. And like they it kind of like you guys remember the Blair Witch Project and how they had the website with the supposed real news articles on the website and all that. Universal went the other way for this movie, The Fourth Kind, and they put like what looked like real uh, obituaries and news articles on the internet, looking like they were from real newspapers. Like the Blair Witch Project didn't do that; they kind of tried to do the same thing. And so they ended up having a lawsuit about it because it's kind of impugning on the credibility of those news sites. Kind of in the same way people did that whole Glenn obituary in the real paper for the real actor, and how people always mess with the Wikipedia stuff. And so like they actually had to pay money to all of the Alaska newspapers that were involved, and of course the press club itself also got money from uh, the from Universal Pictures to kind of help benefit Alaskan journalism as well. And that's like the last time I remember somebody really getting like caught up because of the fake news, like somebody real getting caught up for trying to make fake news because they were. I mean, it's the other way around. It's not a fake news site. It's the real people doing fake stuff. Um, but that is all we've got for today. I wanted to bring up something like I said while you guys are all on here. Hey, Brittany, how much do you love the show
Hmm.
Insecure?
A lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. Love
Well,
it.
apparently the people love you talking about Insecure because episode five's recap 700 views, episode 6 recap 600 views, and my emails, well, I should say the site's emails for the last few days since we've been on vacation. When are you guys gonna do the last 2 episodes? Dude, when are you guys doing the last 2 episodes? So apparently the people have demanded that we come in and do more. So we're gonna have to get in and do that. Um, Here coming up soon, we'll get all that
Uh-huh.
figured out. And of course, you do have a big chewing gum review for him as well coming up soon, right?
Indeed, I do.
So we will be checking in with her to hear about chewing gum. Um, I know you said we're just doing season one because you said season two is showing right now, right? That was correct.
Yeah, season two is showing right now. It's a British show, so season two, I guess, is showing in the UK right now. But season one is available to watch on Netflix right now.
Awesome. So we'll be getting that here soon. Next week we will have on Kay Walker to talk a little bit more about the soon to return Give No Quarter, and of course Van's here for a good reason as well. We're going to be doing a little more gaming discussion here with him uh, later on in the month of December, and of course going into the new year. So, for all of us here at Worst Don't Do It Justice, everybody at 314 Publishing, all the folks here on the Wrath of Ruthless, for Weekends Don't Do It Justice, our partners over at Geek Street Radio, of course, our website, weekendlife.com, WKNDLIFE.com, for myself, for Brittany and Van, you've been listening to The Wrath of Ruthless. I am the Ruthless Wonder, not a Ruthless Wonder. And we will see you soon for all these recaps, all these reviews, and of course, next time on the show. Bye bye.